Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 8:43 a.m. and we're now going to be joined by Firoze Bhorat. He is the Group Chief Marketing Officer at Discovery. And we're here to talk about one of the new products, and I think that it just sounds absolutely amazing. Long, long, long overdue. And let's hope and pray that other corporates throughout South Africa start thinking laterally and come up with amazing ideas, such as what Firoz and I are going to talk about on the show this morning. Firoz Bharat, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, this sounds absolutely amazing. Discovery has launched a fire force. It's a new private firefighting service in Johannesburg. Talk to us about it because we've heard about the most disastrous situations where when a fire breaks out at a business or a home, um, either the fire department just doesn't respond, there aren't enough fire trucks, or they get there too late, or if they eventually do get there, there's an issue with not having water in their tanks, or there isn't a pump where they can hook up and then try and douse out the fire. So those are the disaster stories we hear from time to time. How and why did Discovery come up with this amazing product?
Firstly, Jazakallah for inviting me on, Auntie Julie. I think you've said it. You know, we recognize the limitations that are currently present in society, and particularly around EMS, emergency management services. And I think it is important for the private sector to be involved to help alleviate some of that pressure. And as you've correctly stated, I think the ability to get to an emergency situation, certainly a fire within 15 minutes, is imperative if you're going to localize the kind of damage that occurs and save lives. In an effort to help contain the impact that these kind of disasters have, certainly protecting our clients, managing our risk, it was important for us to introduce what we now call the fire force. It helps us from a risk management perspective. It certainly serves the community and it keeps people safe.
How's this going to work? Do I have to be a member of Discovery Health? Do I need my medical aid to be linked to Discovery or be a direct Discovery member? And then if I find myself in a situation where I need the fire services, is that going to be then at an extra cost? So just talk to us about the logistics of how this then rolls out.
Okay, so look, we must first and foremost we must acknowledge and remember that the provision of this kind of service, all EMS type services, still sits very much and firmly with the state. So this is not intended to replace what the state does for its citizens. However, it is a service that we've opened up for Discovery Insure clients, not necessarily Discovery Health, Discovery Insure clients, because we are trying to manage the risk on the book. If you consider the amount of Discovery Insure clients that we have concentrated around the Johannesburg area, there's a considerable amount of our clients here with a fair amount of risk on that book. So it's in our interest, it's in our clients' interest to make sure that we have a backup system that can augment what the state does in order to protect their properties. So yes, this is a service that is primarily intended for benefiting our clients. However, to be pragmatic, to be practical, Auntie Julie, if you are not a Discovery Insure client, but you're experiencing a situation, there's no reason for us not to attend to that situation. And the process of it all is that as soon as we do get notified of an emergency situation, we do let the State Fire Service know, in addition to responding ourselves.
Okay, so if I'm a Discovery Health member, but I don't have, I'm not a Discovery Insure member. If I find myself in a situation where I have a fire on my premises, I would have possibly uh, Discovery would assist me in some form or the other, either advise the municipality, City of Johannesburg, or whatever, or possibly send out their own trucks. But there comes another big question, and that is you're not operating a fire service from your premises. This is in conjunction with the local fire department. But are you funding them, or have you bought additional fire trucks to supplement their aging infrastructure or their depleted infrastructure?
So, but just to the first part of your question, yes, we are not replacing anything that the state does. We are merely augmenting what they're able to do, and we're partnering with a private fire management or emergency management company that has got incredibly good credentials across the country. They've been doing this for a long time in provinces such as the KZN, and all we're doing is we're really partnering with them to uh, provide additional capacity to the firefighting ability within the city, within the metropolitan of Johannesburg. So it's not meant to replace. It's not meant to um, take away from the responsibility of what the state needs to do. It's merely just a public-private partnership of what can be done when we join forces to serve our communities better.
So if I'm with Discovery Medical Aid, but not Discovery Insure, would it be in my best interest to take out some sort of an insurance product via Discovery so that in the eventuality that I, do experience a fire, that I know that I'm 101% covered?
Absolutely. Look, the intent is not for this to be a sales pitch. As I said to you, we would, as any person, not even if you were not affiliated to Discovery at all, if you were experiencing an issue, our first goal is to make sure that we service the community and that we limit the impact on loss of property, loss of life. So that is by far the biggest goal here. Naturally, if you are a Discovery Insure client, that does help because you are top of our priority list because we've got to look after our members first. So naturally, as the CMO of Discovery, I would encourage people to take an insurance product with Discovery. And I think, look, this is just an additional component in terms of our shared value insurance because if we look to protect our members' property, it does result in lower claims, in less risk for us. It's a similar initiative with the pothole patrol that we initiated last year. We know the state of our roads, and the number of claims coming through of people hitting potholes is just extraordinary. So the partnership with the city to fill potholes is just another initiative that I can cite as far as shared value is concerned. Looking after the community, looking after your property, so that we lower the risk.
So, okay, let's assume I'm with Discovery Insure. There's a fire. What is the procedure for me to follow to get the fire service at my premises ASAP and not wait for a day till my house is burned down to the ground?
So the Discovery Insure clients should be afforded the all of the details of the Discovery Emergency Services number. It's 0860 999 911, and that dispatches out to 8 patches. We have 8 patches around the metropolitan, and they will notify the fire services as well as dispatching their own units to the property as soon as possible. And the goal is to, as I said before, the goal is to get there before or within 15 minutes to ensure that we maximize the efficacy of the firefighting.
So, Firoze, you've mentioned the Pothole Brigade, which was initiated by Discovery. You people are on board with a firefighting force, which is enhancing, a very overstretched local firefighting service that we have. What's next? I'm thinking ambulance, I'm thinking local clinics who are totally overstretched. I'm thinking of government hospitals It's a crying shame when you walk into a government hospital. I went in recently to see a relative, and all I said to my husband at the time was, Shukr Alhamdulillah that we are on medical aid. Never mind about gap cover, what you've got to pay out of your pocket. But the point is, and that's something I'd like to touch on with you as well. But the point is, when you see the state of our hospitals, it's truly a crying shame. Is Discovery perhaps applying their minds to these type of services because it is sorely needed?
It's a very tough and complicated situation in that we have to. I mean, Discovery as a private company, a very important cog in the overall health ecosystem. Uh, we can't take over what the state responsibilities are, and a government hospital sits squarely with the government. Having said that, we are alive to the challenges that we face as a country, and we're always poised to assist in any way possible. But we've got to be careful that we don't overstep the boundaries between what it is that we do as a private company, our responsibility first and foremost to our members, and then obviously to society. At this point, there aren't any plans for us to get involved in the management of public facilities. That sits squarely with the government. Um, but in any time, if we were asked to be of any assistance, I think the nature of Discovery, our values would be that we'd stand up and we'd assist when asked to do so.
As with the fire department, Firoz, we also know that the ambulance department is really stretched to the limit as well. Similar situation as my opening comments with this interview with you was that when you do call on an ambulance, unless of course you're calling a private ambulance service, they get there too late, the patient has died, or they don't arrive at all. So because Discovery is a health service provider, medical aid provider, that would be within your ambit, wouldn't it, to boost the ambulance service, if not the local clinics and hospitals, because as you rightly say, that is the sole responsibility of local government.
Yes, to an extent, but remember that the to our members that facility exists already, and you can imagine the breadth of what needs to be serviced through an ambulance service. So, in order to get our members to a private healthcare facility, the extension of that is the ambulance services. So that is already part and parcel of the offering. Similarly, within the government context, those ambulance services belong to and are administered by the government. So there are still those limitations within which we could operate. And as I said, we've got to be careful in how far we can stretch our services beyond what our mandate is.
Anything else we need to know, Firoz, as far as the products we've been talking about, ambulance services and firefighting, and the importance of gap cover? Um, Oftentimes you need to visit specialists or you're hospitalized. Doesn't matter what plan you're on with Discovery. Invariably, you're still having to dig into your pockets to pay that gap cover. What can you tell us about the importance of being covered, regarding gap cover is concerned?
Okay, so I think it is important to understand and make sure that you are aware of the type of plan that you have bought into and what your cover is, and certainly your financial advisor will be able to explain all of that in extreme amount of detail. But as far as gap cover is concerned, the product really was born out of the fact that you have something called the medical aid rate, which is the rate at which the medical aid pays out hospitals and specialists and doctors. And often you have a differential or delta between what the medical aid rate is and what the doctors actually charge. And what gap cover does is that in most cases, what it does is that it bridges the gap between what the medical aid rate is and what the doctors charge. Remember, doctors do charge variable rates depending on who they are, their speciality, etc. And so what the gap cover seeks to do is make sure that your out-of-pocket expense is minimized, if not closed completely.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I need to seriously think about gap cover. In closing, then, what do you have to share with us this morning as far as Discovery is concerned in all of their services?
Well, I think for the community at large, I think that not too long ago, Auntie Julie, we spoke about the Sharia plan. When I start to coalesce all of these initiatives that we're doing, is that for all of South Africa, but certainly for our community as Muslims, is to make sure that Discovery is fully accessible to all of our Muslim brothers and sisters, but also making sure that these services that we and these adjacencies that we introduce, like the fire force, like pothole patrol, all of these initiatives are available to our community to enjoy and to see the benefits of, really. So if I may, I'd ask people to please consider Discovery. And now that there is a viable option available to us from a health perspective, we may not have a Sharia compliant plan as far as some of our other products are concerned, particularly insurance. But these are kind of the kind of things that we need to look into right now. And that's what we're driving forward from our side.
And undoubtedly, you are looking into the insurance uh, side from a Sharia compliant perspective as well. And I'm sure sooner than later, you'll be talking to me about that as well, inshallah. Firoze Bhorat, Group Chief Marketing Officer at Discovery. Thank you indeed. Go well and have a great day. Keep warm though. There's a cold front around the corner. So, salamu alaikum to you.
Alaikum salam, jazakallah.
It is exactly 9 o'clock and time for us to be joined by Zai Jadwit. He's bringing us the news bulletin right on the top of the hour. Let's take a very short break and then Zaid will be chatting to us.